My name is Chipper, and I live in Moneymentorville. Welcome to my class today on special needs. It's nice to meet you. Now, I am a chipmunk. I think you probably can see that. And I wanted to talk today a little bit about what special needs means for teens and a few words that you might want to know when it comes to special needs trust. Now, the term special needs describes a person who might need some extra help or support in one or more areas of life, like learning, moving around, communicating, or taking care of daily activities. Now, you probably don't know this, but special needs can occur at any time in your life. You could be born with a special need, or you could actually obtain a special need by an accident or something else that happens to you during your life. A person with special needs might have a physical disability, a developmental condition, a chronic illness, or another challenge that makes it harder for them to do certain things without assistance. Having a special need does not mean that someone is not capable. It just means that they might need a different kind of support or different kind of tools to reach their goals in life. Special needs sometimes involves medical care or therapy, adaptive technologies, sometimes like speech software or mobility devices, financial or educational support, and a special needs trust to help manage money safely without losing support or benefits from the government. Everyone needs special needs and support in different ways, but not everyone is defined by a special need. What are some of the ways you can think of that society could make sure that everyone, including people with special needs, have a chance to live independently and pursue their goals? Now we'll think about that, but that's what I want to focus on. So I'm giving you my special needs guide to trust. And the reason I'm giving it to you is that I know that some of you might have siblings or brothers and sisters or parents or grandparents who have special needs. And I want to make sure you're aware of very basic things that I can tell you about it. Now keep in mind, I'm just a chipmunk, so I'm not an expert on special needs, but I do want to bring it up just so you're generally aware of how that works and what's available. So to be clear, again, here are a few of my favorite words that we use in the special needs community when it comes to special needs trust. Now, you've heard us talk about trust in general. There are revocable trust and irrevocable trust. And in case your teacher hasn't told you, I will tell you that a special needs trust tends to be an irrevocable trust because you need to keep your assets away from the person who's going to be receiving the benefits. We usually call that an arm's length transaction, but what that means is I can't control money if I'm getting benefits from the state. Now, there's different kinds of needs, and so sometimes somebody only needs financial help, but they're not getting benefits from the state. But I'm going to talk about this from my perspective. If my family is getting benefits from the state for my care, and they're also contributing, if my parents aren't there, what's going to happen to me? Sometimes people get scared and they say, oh my goodness, a sibling might have to take over, or do we have to put somebody in a different kind of facility and when they're used to living at home? Well, we don't want to have to do that. And so ideally, whether I work or whether I don't, someone else usually has to manage my money. And one of the things that can be done, which is not a very complex concept, it's harder to do but easier to say, is one of the things that can be done is my parents can buy life insurance and have the special needs trust as the beneficiary. And so the special needs trust then can care for me and provide additional things that maybe the state doesn't for me so that I can function when they're no longer here. It's a big responsibility, I know. But that's one of the uses of a special needs trust. So let's just talk about a few words and then I'll let you get back to class. Okay. Now, we probably talked about this already, but in case you didn't know, I'm going to go over just 5 key words that you might need to know about special needs trust. And keep in mind, you might have these on your quiz. So just make sure you're remembering these and writing this down. A trustee, a person or organization responsible for maintaining the trust and making sure funds are used for the beneficiary's best interest. Okay? Now that person can be an entity, it can be a parent, it could be a CPA, somebody that you hire, it could be a brother or sister, but someone has to be assigned and they're the legal person responsible. Now you use the word beneficiary. Now I'm the beneficiary of my special needs trust, and that means the person who receives the benefit from the trust. In this case, the individual with the special needs. Supplemental needs, expenses that improve a quality of life but are not covered by government programs like entertainment, education, or therapy. So those are the kinds of things I'm saying can be paid for with a special needs trust and could be funded by a life insurance policy. They don't have to be, but if you don't want to put in dollar for dollar, it's a way to fund a trust. Means-tested benefits. This one's a big one. Government programs like Medicaid or SSI require individuals to have limited income and assets to qualify for the kind of full-time care that someone like me might need if I am medically incapacitated, which sometimes I am. And let's talk about this too. A first party versus a third party trust. This is very important when it comes to special needs trust. A first party trust is funded with the beneficiary's own money, like a settlement, for example, or from work, while a third party trust is funded by someone else, like a parent or a grandparent. Now this becomes important because sometimes people think once they go on disability or once they go on a disability income claim, they think, oh, well, that's it. I can't work. Well, in my case, I do work. And so I have a first party trust where I have my settlement money, but I also have some earned income that goes into that trust. And then my trustee is able to use that at times for my benefit. I hope that makes sense. I just want you guys to know one more thing, is that just because someone is different doesn't mean they're different. We're all different in our different ways. And so I want you to have compassion and understand that just because someone is a little bit different doesn't mean that they're not a special person or not very valuable to society or don't have something to offer. And so I don't want you to just look at someone and disregard them just because you're not sure. I want you to understand that I love you and I'm Chipper and I want you to respect everyone, including yourself. Okay? All right. I'll see you around Moneymentorville, and I'll let you get back to class now. But I hope you enjoyed my class. Okay. Take care, and do well on the test. Bye!